Thanks, Madam Chair. Mr. Secretary, glad to see you. And you know what I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you about Cairo. We call it looks like Cairo, Egypt, but it's Cairo, Illinois,
Yeah.
Alexander County. And you and I have chatted about this over the phone and in person. This is Exhibit A in mismanagement in Washington and locally. It is a disaster.
It is.
Public housing built in the 1940s. Neither of us would even consider staying a night, overnight, in this miserable, filthy, rat-infested, bug-infested, mold-infested, awful situation. None of us. And yet, our American citizens, people we represent, are living there. You made the right decision to get rid of these old housing units, but there's an obvious question in Cairo, Illinois, what's next? And I need some assurances from you today on the record here in Washington, D.C. I can take home to Illinois. I need to make sure, number one, that you have a vision of what you want these families to have when it's all over. After all the mismanagement, and it's not on your watch, it predated you, after all the mismanagement in Washington and all this mismanagement locally, what can we promise these residents once we tear down those miserable old housing units? What can we promise them today?
Well, I appreciate your steadfastness in this. We have had an opportunity to talk, and as I've said before, we've examined virtually every option that there is. This, unfortunately, is a dying community. People don't have jobs there. There's really no support for public-private partnerships. And you have a housing development that, through years of neglect, has deteriorated into an unlivable atmosphere. We have provided vouchers for all of those individuals to be able to move out. They can move to any place they want in the country and be supported. And we have provided people to come and help them, to counsel them on where they can go and how they can utilize the funding.
Can we walk through that a little bit?
Yes.
First off, we're going to do a survey for the 180 so people that are involved, find out what they want to do. Secondly, we're going to do a survey of available housing in the community. Many want to live in Cairo. That's been their home forever and ever. And you and I might look at it and say, well, that isn't a very promising community. This is still home for many of these folks, and they want to be near their families there. So that survey needs to be done, and the inspection of the property that might be qualify for Section 8 vouchers. I hope that inspection includes timely inspection for the obvious things, safety and the like, but also for lead, so that we can put them in a place that is safe for them and their children when it's all said and done. But here's the thing that I've got to impress upon you. You say it's a dying community. If we're not careful, HUD can kill this community, and here's what I mean. If we had all of the people in those two units leave Cairo, Illinois, it would cut the school enrollment in half. That would be the end of their school system, and it truly would be the end of this community. So I'm starting with the premise, if you want to stay, and if we can find you a safe and clean place to stay, I feel an obligation to try to help you reach that goal. Is it reasonable for me to feel that way?
It's reasonable for you to feel that way, and that has been looked at and studied in some detail. Even before I came on the scene. And we've continued to look at that. And there do not appear to be adequate places. That's one of the reasons that we're in this particular situation. But like I said, and as I continue to say, if someone can find a solution that is better than the one that we have, I am all ears completely.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. The mismanagement that occurred locally has resulted in a report which I cannot question. They're facing bankruptcy, dissolution, everything went wrong, and people should be held accountable for it.
Agreed.
But not just in Illinois, in Alexander County. People should be held accountable in Washington,
I agree.
who were overseeing this project. Are you willing to commit to an internal review so that if there was wrongdoing within the Department of Housing and Urban Development, that can become public as well?
It has already been started.
By the Inspector General. I'm talking about your own authority as Secretary.
We are already doing that across the country. We're looking at the inspection process. We've already decertified 42 inspectors for falling below the standards. We're working with the others, and we're hiring more. This is something that is totally unacceptable to me, and we're going to get it taken care of.
I hope you'll include in the Cairo situation not just inspection, but those who had oversight of the local housing authority and decided that regular trips to Las Vegas were in order for these people who were head of the housing authority.
I'm lockstep with you.
Thank you, sir.